The mind is the beginning of all things. Every joy, every sorrow, every act of courage or cowardice begins as a thought, and yet few learn to rule their thoughts. Most drift through life as servants to impulse and fear. The Stoics taught that mastery begins not with power, but with perception. To see the world as it is, unclouded by desire or dread, is the first act of strength, because a man who sees clearly cannot be deceived. Not by fortune, not by praise, not even by his own mind. The discipline of the mind is the daily art of clearing away illusion. When anger stirs, reason whispers, "Wait." When pride swells, wisdom reminds, "You are mortal." When fear tightens its grip, courage answers, "This, too, is within you." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He didn't mean indifference to the world, he meant command of self. For if a person cannot rule his mind, he is ruled by whatever happens to him. Every morning, the disciplined mind awakens with intention. Before the noise of the day invades, it chooses its stance. Will I be patient? Will I be just? Will I act with calm? This quiet preparation shapes everything that follows. It is mental armor for a world that tests every virtue it admires. The Stoics understood that thought is habit, not accident. To think wisely, one must train. So they wrote, reflected, and rehearsed virtue like soldiers sharpening a blade. Each evening they reviewed, what did I do well? What did I do poorly? Not to judge themselves harshly, but to refine the next day, to sand away the rough edges left by haste, vanity, and fear. Discipline of mind does not silence emotion. It gives emotion its rightful place. Anger becomes courage when guided by reason. Fear becomes caution when ruled by wisdom. Joy becomes gratitude when grounded in virtue. But undisciplined, these same feelings destroy. They twist the soul into a battlefield. A disciplined mind turns chaos into clarity, and every challenge into practice. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." Reaction is choice, and choice lives in the mind. So the Stoic trains that instant between event and response. A pause, a breath, a thought. That small space decides whether a man lives as a slave or as a sovereign. Imagine a storm at sea. Waves crash, winds roar, lightning splits the sky. The undisciplined mind is the ship that fights the waves. The disciplined mind is the captain who studies their rhythm. He does not command the storm, but he commands himself. And because of that, he endures. So it is with life. Every insult, every loss, every uncertainty is a wave. You cannot calm the sea, but you can steady the helm. To discipline the mind is to live deliberately. To speak when speech is useful, to be silent when silence holds wisdom, to act without haste, and to think without fear. This is not the cold restraint of emotionless men. It is the warm strength of those who have learned that emotion serves reason, not the other way around. Seneca taught that the mind should be a fortress, not a prison. Within that fortress there is peace, because one knows what can and cannot be controlled. There, no insult wounds deeply. No loss destroys utterly. No success intoxicates. Discipline is not achieved in a single act. It's carved slowly, through repetition, like marble shaped by the patient hand of time. Each choice, each restraint, each reflection etches another line of strength until the rough stone of impulse becomes the statue of reason. The Stoics did not meditate to escape the world, but to enter it prepared. They walked through markets and noise, past temptations and provocations, carrying within them a quiet order no chaos could break. They rehearsed adversity in the theater of the mind. What if I lose what I love? What if I am slandered? What if fortune turns? In imagining the blow, they dulled its edge. In meeting it first with thought, they met it later with calm. Consider 3 simple disciplines of thought. First, the discipline of attention. Where the eyes rest, the mind follows. If you feed outrage, you harvest anger. If you feed envy, you reap restlessness. Turn your attention to what builds strength. Gratitude for the present, duty in the moment, clarity in the task at hand. Second, the discipline of interpretation. Events have no voice, only the meaning we give them. A delay becomes an injustice if you insist it should not be so. It becomes a lesson if you decide to learn. The Stoic asks, what else could this mean that makes me stronger, calmer, juster? Third, the discipline of intention. Ask before action, what is my aim? Is it aligned with virtue? If the aim is vanity, expect anxiety. If the aim is service, expect peace. Intention is the compass that keeps reason from drifting with the tides of impulse. Modern life is louder and faster, but the lesson holds. Peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of clarity. To achieve that clarity, one must practice. Each morning, guard your thoughts. Each evening, examine them. Write what you feared and why. Name what angered you and what you chose instead. Note where you failed, not to shame yourself, but to learn. The mind becomes a mirror, clear, steady, truthful. When it is cleaned daily of the smudges left by hurry and ego, there is also the discipline of perspective. From the height of reason, the world looks different. What loomed like a mountain from the valley becomes a small hill from above. Zoom out in your mind. Will this matter in a month? In a year? At the end of a life? Perspective shrinks the urgent and magnifies the essential. It teaches you to trade noise for signal, motion for direction. And there is the discipline of readiness. Most people prepare only when the crisis arrives. The Stoic prepares every day. By lifting small weights of discomfort, a difficult conversation done with courtesy, a temptation declined without drama, a duty finished without applause. Strength is not built in emergencies. It is revealed there. The mind you train in the quiet is the mind that serves you in the storm. Do not mistake discipline for harshness. True discipline is gentle with the self and strict with the habit. It forgives the stumble but does not excuse it. It accepts being human while refusing to be careless. It knows progress is uneven. Some days the mind is a clear sky, some days it is clouds. On both days, practice. You will meet people who are ruled by impulse, who chase anger, who worship approval, who drown in distraction. Do not despise them. Learn from them. Let their hurry remind you to slow down. Let their noise remind you to listen. Let their vanity remind you to choose substance. The disciplined mind does not need to shout. It persuades by example. Steady hands, measured words, a life that points to something higher. If you wish for proof, look not at speeches but at outcomes. Does your discipline make you kinder? Does it sharpen your sense of duty? Does it free you from unnecessary suffering? If yes, continue. If not, adjust. The goal is not to win arguments with others, but to end arguments within yourself. One day, perhaps sooner than you think, fortune will test you. A plan will fail, a friend will betray, a door will close. In that hour, the undisciplined mind will scatter like birds before thunder. The disciplined mind will gather itself. It will name what is in its power and act there. It will accept what is not and let it go. It will choose words that heal and deeds that help. And when the storm passes, as all storms do, it will still be whole. This is the promise of the discipline of the mind, not a life without struggle, but a life in which struggle does not break you. Not a heart without feeling, but a heart that feels deeply without losing direction. Not a path free of error, but a path that corrects itself with honesty and grace. Begin where you are. Guard a single thought today. Question a single interpretation. Choose a single intention and hold to it. Return tomorrow and do it again. The statue is hidden in the stone, your task is to keep chiseling. Because discipline of the mind is not about control for its own sake. It is about freedom. The freedom to think clearly, feel deeply, and act wisely, no matter the world outside. And that freedom, once found, is a peace no storm can steal.